Welcome, everybody, to the Healthy Habit Podcast, episode number 206 with Nick Stern here, and I'm your host, Dr. Dayan of Healthy Habit Medical Center. And if you're having trouble pronouncing that, it's like day off, but Dayan. There we go, easy. The J's are like Y's in Serbia and Eastern Europe. So, and we're located right inside Healthy Habit Health Foods here. For going on 6 years, July 2025 will be 6 years that we opened the clinic. And we do have this podcast as well now. We're in our third year. So if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Stay in the loop. It keeps you guys up to date with what's going on here at Healthy Habit Health Foods in the Medical Center. And again, Nick Stern is back for a second of a three-part series here for 2025. And we're going to be breaking down the cardiovascular system. Nick has a lot of great wisdom in this area and personal experience that he can share. So, former competitive athlete and self-directed nutraceutical researcher with over 55 years of experience in health and wellness, Nick in 2008 co-founded SunWarrior, one of the pioneers of plant-based supplements, which has become a brand name in over 100 countries. I've used SunWarrior a ton personally, and their probiotic products with patients. Phenomenal company, one of the originals in the health space. Nick recently co-founded SunNutrition, creator and formulator of Vascular Defense, the first product of its kind for cardiovascular health, high blood pressure, inflammation, and much more. Nick, welcome back.
Great to be back, Dr. Dayan.
I
always have a hard time with
day
your
off,
name too.
Dayan. There it is. And
Great
you're in Hawaii?
I'm on Hawaii on the Big Island. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Very nice. Yeah. Well, the stage is yours, Nick. We're back for our part 2. And like I said, we're going to be breaking down the cardiovascular system, but especially blood clots. Up to 900,000 people a year affected by this. Chronic inflammation, vaccine damage, which has been, there's more and more research coming out, like Yale researchers are publishing studies now with the CV-19 vaccines and all this. So go ahead. The stage is yours. Where do you want to start us off with here today?
Well, let's just start. Here's kind of what I want to project. We talked a little bit about the product last episode.
Right.
This episode, kind of like to talk about this product is multi-purpose and covers an array of health issues.
Right.
So as you mentioned, let's just go over some of the top 5 right now. And there's a lot more that covers, but let's go over the top 5. And just to brief what you said, cardiovascular disease, approximately 2,500 people a day die from heart disease. Oh, wow. That translates to one person every 34 seconds, if you can imagine that. Every 34 seconds, somebody has cardiovascular. So not a good statistic. High blood
that's
pressure.
Just in America, and that's just in America.
That's just in America, in America. Now this one, here's another one. High blood pressure. It is reported that about half the adult population in America has high blood pressure. Wow. Blood clots, let's go there. Blood clots, up to 900,000 people a year are affected through blood clots. Inflammation in the U.S. too. It's estimated that 1/3 of the U.S. has chronic inflammation. So let's go to this last study, which is Yale. It was called the Yale bombshell study, and the scientists actually, and now I'm having a harder time finding it now. They're kind of keeping it off the internet. But this was like 2-3 weeks ago. I did a talk show talking about this. It's the vaccine damage that over 17 million, they might be even more, have the vaccine damage. And there's so many things with the spike proteins. So this product, you might have all of these, some of these, but this product is universal. It covers all these. So that's kind of the purpose of the show. We can go into any questions you might have now.
Sure. But, yeah. By the way, since our last episode, I've been taking the SunNutrition, the Vascular Defense product, because it's super clean and highly effective. Before Nick and I went on the air today, we were talking about this. That the number one cause of death here, the heart disease, high blood pressure, strokes, heart attacks, or myocardial infarctions, if you want to be formal. And I want to be ahead of the game, taking these herbs and keeping those vessels healthy. You want to start now instead of, after your first cardiovascular event. But it's never too late, right, Nick?
That's right. I kind of want to stress, too, what we're talking about here is a natural, holistic alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. So you might know better than me the statistics on pharmaceutical drugs. There's a lot of side effects. I can go into my story real quickly why I kind of got into what really I came out of retirement to put this product out. Close to 15 years ago, I had a blood clot, and I don't get sick. And I'm going, how does a guy like me get a blood clot? So I'm a massive trainer. I train like a maniac still to this day. That causes some inflammation. So there could be a lot of things. I was sitting a lot, being a major researcher. So sitting, there's a lot of effects on blood clots. So I got it. They wanted me on something called Xarelto. And I asked the doctor, I go, how long do you expect? He actually wanted me almost like on this the rest of my life. I'm going to take something like this the rest of my first week I took it, didn't feel good. I said, this isn't the right approach I want to take. Since I'm being a major researcher, I was studying a lot about systemic enzymes and what they do. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to be my own best doctor because I have a knowledge of what nutraceuticals can do. And sure enough, the first week I had a hard time walking with the blood clot. It's called deep vein thrombosis.
In the legs, huh?
Yeah, it was in my left leg, deep vein thrombosis. I had a hard time walking 100 feet, 200 feet. I felt like lead. Wow. And I go, ooh, I started taking the enzymes. I started with nattokinase first. And I said, I'm going to add some serrapeptase in too. And I'll get into the story of the other one later. But as I went, I started upping the dosages. I was taking more of a therapeutic dose, I call it. Sure enough, my walking went from 500 steps to 1,000 steps to 5,000. Now I could do 10,000 steps, no problem. Had no problems with any clotting issues over the last 15 years. Come around 2000. So basically this product was, before it came to the market, I was experimenting on myself. How do I keep tweaking it and making it better? The new kid on the block, it's called Lumbrokinase.
Uh-huh.
A lot of supplement companies don't put all three in. Why the Lumbrokinase? Lumbrokinase is about 4 to 6 times more expensive. A lot of people don't know this than the nattokinase. Oh, wow. Pharmaceutical grade is the highest quality, cost me almost $3,000 a kilo. So that's why I was figuring, why aren't these guys putting this stuff in? So that's the superstar of the bunch on my formula. It's the Lumbrokinase. If you do, I've been doing a lot of research on this because I hear different stories. Sometimes it's 100 times stronger in fibrolytic activity than serrapeptase and the nattokinase and the serrapeptase. Right. But each one has a different component. The serrapeptase works really good on the respiratory tract. Nattokinase, which Dr. McCullough, and I'll get into that in a second, he loves the nattokinase with bromelain. Yeah. So the formula actually, before I went to market, I started throwing bromelain in here because what happened in 2020? Boom. The COVID hits. And now you got the shots. Now I'm noticing a lot of people are getting blood clots. And I'm going, oh, is it? And there was no correlation. People we're talking about a lot more about the effects of the vaccine shots. Now, you couldn't talk about this the last few years. You probably know that. If you talked about this, you were silenced. Yeah. So now the new administration, you got Robert Kennedy in there, and now they're a little more free to talk. Hey, there's some side effects on these pharmaceuticals. Right. Before we were silenced. Now I'm still open. I still suggest people go to their doctor, get the right thing. But what I'm talking here is a natural holistic approach. If you want to go this approach, and if pharmaceutical drugs don't make sense to you, because what they wanted me on was Xarelto. I think they were settling a $770 million lawsuit on all the side effects. Wow. So, if you want to go that route, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell people what to do. But if you want to do what I did and you want to take a natural holistic approach, down the road, I think I told you this, I'm going to start working with some doctors that will actually be doing actual blood tests. Yes. So you might tell me better. Maybe I could learn from you. How many days do you really start noticing the effects on inflammation and the markers, and maybe your cardiovascular readings, cleaning the arteries? Maybe you can tell me. You can educate me a little bit because that's more your field than me.
Absolutely. I think it's smart, number one, to be partnering with practitioners that are checking blood work, because then you can actually see inflammation markers dropping over time, like the CRP and different clotting markers, while tracking their blood pressure at the same time and seeing how it's actually working in the clinic. But like, I'll pull up one study here, Nick. I want to show the listeners. If you're on YouTube, you can follow along on video, but I'll say it verbally as well. If you're a customer in the store, I pulled up a study here. This is Chinese research from 2022. And this is just one example on how well studied lumbrokinase is that Nick was just referring to. This is a study looking at lumbro with aspirin or just aspirin by itself for stroke risk, acute ischemic strokes. And you can see this visual that they put here where you start with lumbrokinase, and it has an effect on all these different clotting markers. Like fibrin, it decreases the formation of fibrin. If you see on the far right of the screen here, what it ultimately ends up doing, decreases the function of thrombin. And then the platelets, it decreases their function, which you need that in the case of somebody that's way too predisposed to clots. They're very likely a family history of clots, or they've already had clots. You can see lumbrokinase directly acts on all these different pathways. So that's one thing people should consider, that this is very well studied, right, Nick? Lumbrokinase?
Yes. Now, that's the newer kid on the block. Now, my research went into Dr. William Wong. I started studying this around 2005. And he's kind of the one that brought some of the enzymes to the United States. He was in Germany, and they did a lot of studies. He was working with some of the top enzyme guys.
Right.
He was really pushing serrapeptase a lot back in this interview, but that sparked my interest. But there's a history of, I think, on some of these up to around 50 years or so. Lumbrokinase, I think, came out around 83, I believe. That's the new kid on the block, I call it. And Dr. Wong didn't know about it back in the interview back then. So I've been studying this stuff since 2005 about enzymes. Right. So you got to do a deep dive too. You're going to see more stuff if you go into Asia, peer-reviewed, and Germany and stuff. They're going to be a little more freely to talk. And I noticed in the United States, some of the peer, I guess that's what you guys look at, right? The peer-reviewed studies and stuff, which are just
right.
They're a little more open in Europe and Asia and in Germany. So in fact, Dr. William Wong talks about how.
What do you mean? So they're more open, meaning they're more likely to study these things and actually put together research?
They prescribe. Yeah. They prescribe. What Dr. William Wong was saying, what sparked my interest, for really people with traumatic inflammation, scar tissue, they're in a major accident, they give them high doses of systemic enzymes.
Interesting.
And then he gets into a story about the Russian Olympic team. Now, we talked about inflammation, anti-inflammatory drugs, how they were starting to ban it, all the side effects from anti-inflammatory drugs. The Russians found out high mega doses of systemic enzymes worked better than the anti-inflammatory drugs. So that was their little secret weapon back according to Dr. Wong. They've been prescribing high doses of systemic enzymes. So now that people go, can you take too much? Dr. William Wong tells a story on this 2000. It was an anti-aging interview in 2005 that I was watching. He talked about how the Germans, they took the prisoners, and to get less jail time, I guess, they were giving them up to 100 times the amount. Wow. So when they found out, they were actually getting healthier. What happens, it's self-regulating. It'll only eat up the stuff that's not supposed to be there.
Oh, wow.
So let's talk about the effective dose, because a lot of people go, Nick, how much of this should I take? It depends on your condition.
Depends.
I always recommend when you're taking it, you might be able to tell this better than I would. But I thought I read somewhere like 1 out of 10,000 people, they can take anything and they'll have a reaction to it. I'm not sure of the number. Start small. Start with 1 capsule. Okay. Right. Give it three days to a week, then you can up it to what I do. And it's always on an empty stomach. You always want it not digesting the food. You want it digesting the unused proteins and the stuff that's not supposed to be there. So you always want to do this on an empty stomach. I do it before I go to bed.
Okay.
I tend to wake up in the middle of the night and go pee. So I take another one then, and I take one in the morning. I take 3 a day. So what is the effective dose? Now, if you've got a lot of trauma, if you've got a lot of inflammation, start upping it like Dr. Wong says. He calls the effective dose, keep taking more and more every 2-3 hours until the inflammation subsides, and then you go back to your regular dose. And I recommend 2 capsules a day separated, so that's how I take it. Now I got a little trick. I do once a month, I do a 48 to 60 hour enzyme fast. That cleans house. So I'm drinking nothing but distilled water, and I'm taking the enzymes every 3 to 4 hours for anywhere from a 2 to 3 day period. That's when you want to do a good house cleaning. And I'm telling you, everything feels so much better after that. That's a trick I do. I don't know many people in the industry that would do that, but
right.
I'm kind of hardcore. So
no, it's great. It was inevitable that we met because I'm a big distilled water promoter as well. I drink some RO as well, but I love that for like 6 years now. I've been also drinking consistently distilled water, the purest water. And then you just mentioned it. So that's great. We're on the same wavelength on that one.
Yeah,
that's incredible. And I just pulled up here from SunNutrition.com, the lumbrokinase, serrapeptase. Basically, it's telling us what's in the enzyme blend in the Vascular Defense product. And I like that you included here because I was just looking at a study, Nick, on how lumbrokinase can help protect certain types of cancer, like bladder cancer and earthworms. And so earthworms have been used in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years. Do you want to hit on that a little?
Right. You've been doing your homework.
Not a lot of people. Oh, yeah. I've been getting ready for this one, Nick. Not a lot of people know that. I guarantee that earthworms have been used in medicine. Can you elaborate a bit on that? Or
they claim for thousands of years. This is old Chinese medicine.
Right.
I mean, so I like stuff that has tradition behind it. This is not something new, like on the market. Clean your arteries in 7 days. They got all this stuff, and they got a little sprinkle of this, a little sprinkle, and good marketing. So you really want to give the body the best pharmaceutical grades or the best dosages, which I have in these products. I crammed as much as I could in these capsules. There's no fillers and binders. If you ever look at a capsule and see, you can have all these different fillers and binders in there. And then we could talk real quick about my encapsulation. It's really a patented process. It's the state of the art. It's called DR caps. It's a delayed release. So it actually resists stomach acid. Now, the old school with the enzymes were the enteric coating, but there's plasticizers and other things involved in that.
Right.
And this is, I've been working with an enzyme guy that's been, almost 20 years, one of the top guys in the field. So he said, Nick, this is the way to go. This is the new state of the art. So I'm trusting him. It's manufactured in the United States, and we use all the top, quality enzymes. And then we source through all my connections of being in Sunwar. I have some of the best connections for the nitric oxide releasers.
Wow.
So if you see popular things on TV, so-and-so, it's this beetroot powder. I got a 20-to-1 extract. I can't just put beetroot powder in her. I got to have something 20 times stronger. That's why I have an extract of 20-to-1. We could talk about red spinach leaf. It keeps nitric oxide levels up for 6 to 8 hours. They're even thinking about, they haven't done it yet, but it's almost like a band on the Olympics thing, because it's actually helping performance. So this is not just for older people. If you want to help performance, whether you're older, I want to increase my performance. I'm 72 and I train like a madman with no inflammation.
Right.
So so these nitric oxide releases are really opening everything up. And of course, we got the garlic in there, and the citrus bergamot, and the cayenne pepper, and the natural niacin through holy basil. So the purpose of the nitric oxide releasers, open everything up. And now you got the Pac-Man, which I said on your last episode. The Pac-Man is the enzymes. Those are like the guys eating up all the stuff that's not supposed to be there.
Right.
And that's the aging process. So we can talk about that even if you want. What is the aging process? Maybe you can put your thoughts, then I can maybe throw a couple more things in there.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a good segue too. And again, folks, so what we're looking at here is the Vascular Defense product that we've been highlighting, even especially last episode. But it's good to do, since we're doing a 3-part series. I want you folks to see that this is split up into a systemic enzyme blend at 416 milligrams per 2 capsules, and then about 1 gram of the proprietary nitric oxide blend, which then contains those herbs and the niacin. And that's one thing that really turned me on to this product, is that niacin holy basil combo. I've actually never seen that in a cardiovascular product like that put together. Niacin's my favorite B vitamin as a supplement. Holy basil is one of my favorite herbs. So I'm like, this is a great formula with the potent extracts. It doesn't just have desiccated or blended up spinach leaf. It's specifically the extract. Before Nick and I went on today, we were talking about anti-aging, and the number one cause of death is cardiovascular disease. So that's literally slowing down the aging. I mean, it's cutting the life short. So if you can protect your cardiovascular health, that is anti-aging. That is an example of anti-aging medicine because it's the number one cause of death. And so if we're able to improve all these cardiovascular markers, reduce clotting risk and inflammation and high blood pressure, that is anti-aging. Is that a good way to look at it, Nick?
It's a great way. Now I'm going to throw a little kicker in there. But nobody talks about this. And this is why I'm a major researcher. Nobody talks about fibrosis. It's it's the unused protein. It's like almost like a spider web in your body. Now, and I learned this from Dr. William Wong again in this anti-aging clinic. It's okay. So here, let me see if I got a note here.
And that's SunNutrition.com, folks. In the meantime, as Nick pulls that up,
let me make it easier for your listeners. It's unused protein, scar tissue. It's okay. So here's the thing: when you have high blood pressure, you have a clotting factor. Here's the problem: if that clotting factor gets too much, it starts to develop these fibrotic tissue. What happens is it starts encapsulating. So Dr. William Wong talks about he's seen these autopsies. You take an 18-year-old. He says when you cut them open, say they're dead, and they're doing the autopsy, the organs are plump and juicy. He calls it. So when you put it in there, it's like Jello. So now he gives the example. He talks and he laughs about a guy my age in 70s. He said your internal organs are like a hard loaf of Italian bread. And he laughs and people are, oh. But I didn't know this. The internal organs shrink sometimes to half their size. Imagine how hard your body has to work.
Oh, wow.
This is the aging process. I don't hear, this is the only thing I've heard it in 2005. I'm trying to do more research on this subject matter. What is pulmonary fibrosis? It's that scar tissue wrapping around your life. It goes around all your internal organs. So what is anti-aging? What you just said, cardiovascular, high blood pressure, inflammation. But let's start eating away all this unused protein, scar tissue, connective tissue, they call it, unused connective tissue. Serrapeptase. What is a serrapeptase? They've kind of found out the silkworm ate through, and it's like silk. Silk is one of the toughest materials. So Dr. Wong relates silk to the fibrous tissue in your body to eat that up. If the serrapeptase, they can eat through that, they can eat through this scar tissue in your body. So this is a subject matter. I'm still doing more research. I'm trying to find stuff. It's just not a lot out there. But I believe that's one of the other causes, besides the major ones we just talked about, is this fibrous tissue. And that's why I amped up this formula with all 3 enzymes to eat that stuff away. So,
no, that's phenomenal, Nick. Yeah, absolutely. Imagine that fibrosis causing excess scarring around organs, pushing them in, squeezing them, basically shrinking them. And that's not talked about at all, really, in the world of anti-aging. It's usually just applying stuff to the skin, or people doing stuff, getting those procedures on the skin for anti-aging. But what about inside? I'll give you another trick
what Dr. Wong talked about.
Yeah.
Some of the top doctors in New York, they were using enzymes because this fibrous tissue gets on your face.
It is.
You can't stay hydrated. You want to so they've been actually experimenting with high enzyme activity, breaking up that scar tissue in your face, and being a man down there. Yeah. If you know what I mean, it even goes around there. Sometimes I've had people go, Nick, I feel like I'm young again here, and it's breaking up that scar tissue downstairs, your package down there. So there's a lot of things I'm not even talking about, but I'm researching all that too. But there's so many other things this product does.
Last minute to go here with Mr. Nick Stern on episode 206. What a great one here as our part 2 in our 3-part series covering vascular defense, SunNutrition, blood clots, fibrosis, enzymes, cardiovascular health. Very, very important. And I would head over to SunNutrition.com, folks. That's all one word, SunNutrition.com. And I'll put that link in the description box under this video. And click the Learn tab up top. Click Learn, and you'll be taken to this page here if you're following along on YouTube, where it breaks down even more, like what does high enzyme activity mean? How soon can I notice results? Why are extracts more potent? Which Nick kind of briefly mentioned that with the spinach extract. And so, yeah, and the beets as well. There's beets in the product, correct? The extract. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, it looks like we have the beetroot extract as well as the red spinach leaf extract. So really good place to start is that Learn. They also have a radio tab. Plus, we're going to have Nick on again. So thank you so much, Nick.
I'm actually going to put your show on my website.
Wow.
This is one of my best shows.
Oh,
you're explaining. Yeah, you're going over stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time to talk on certain shows, so I can. Yeah, I'm gonna once you get this video done, I'm gonna post it on here.
I appreciate that, Nick.
Absolutely.
And thanks for tuning in all the way from Hawaii and setting this up, coming on to educate our customers here. We really appreciate it. And I look forward to our next one, Nick. That pretty much does it. Thank you for also sharing your personal story and how this even came about.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to our next episode.